It's time to learn how the birthday cake gets made. I wasn't going to do one of these How the Sausage Gets Made episodes so soon, but the birthday episode warrants it. Why? Every once in a while there's a video the universe does not want me to make. The pilot for Did I Get What I Paid For had to be shot 3 times due to dead cameras and file import errors. The Quantum Leap episode got way too ambitious. Almost every shot had a green screen effect. We thought it would work, but the lighting was awful. With Matt leaving the state for 6 months, we didn't have the time or the technology to reshoot it. Eventually, I just slapped a few 80s video filters on it and hoped people would buy it as a bad VHS transfer. With the background removal technology available to us now, we could remaster it.
I still kind of want to, but I have a lot more important stuff to do right now.
With this episode, I had what I thought was a great location to shoot at the temporary place I'm living. What wasn't so great was the acoustics. Every scene sounded like this. The whole town wants in on the action. And you can tell where this is going. And if you can't, you can check out this story and other great books at your local library. But you don't have to take my word for it. Eventually, we reshot at a new location. Yeah, it didn't give us the same atmosphere, but it didn't sound like it. The whole town wants in on the action. I bet you can see where this is going. And if you can't, you should check out this story and other great books at your local library. But you don't have to take my word for it. Speaking of reshoots, the curse must be contagious because it spread to the making of video. The first time I shot this bit, there was a truck pulled up next to the 7-Eleven across the street from my building, and it started making this verb sound. Eventually, I decided to just reshoot the entire first third of this episode. So you might notice the background shift a little bit when we eventually get to the footage that I shot about 3 or 4 days ago. The plot structure of this episode changed a lot too. I knew going in that this season I was going to do the 4 great franchises, the 4 callback to previous seasons, 4 foreign films and TV shows, and 3 literary adventures. Matt and I had an outline for all 15 reviews. Some of them changed, some for time reasons, some because we're lazy. We didn't want to have to dig up stills ourselves when so many things would meet our requirements and have them readily available online. Kong Island was dropped because I decided against doing another Nancy Drew episode at the Season 0 callback, maybe in the next batch of 15. I explained my reasons for that in the Ape Man review. Literary Adventures was originally going to include Disney's The Black Cauldron, not the X-Men episode. Again, I still want to do that. Once or twice a season, I'll let other cast members pick what I'm gonna do. On 2 occasions, I let friend of the channel, the Film Geek, decide. Well, if you ask him, the first time he inflicted it on me in lieu of payment. The second time he said, your Christmas present should be doing something you actually want to talk about. And for that, I thank you, buddy, because Scooby-Doo was One of my favorite episodes this batch. As for the adventures of Mark Twain, Matt wasn't too keen on the idea, and I don't know why. I've loved Mark Twain's writing since I was about 12 years old. I love his fiction and his nonfiction. It's just rare I find an adaptation of his work to the screen that isn't awful. The original idea for the episode was going to be an homage to the thing that convinced me to read Mark Twain's work. A two-part episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. The idea for the sketches was that my house was being remodeled, which is happening in real life, but the contractors would come across a duplicate of Ralph's head. But there were production delays and effects concerns, and the idea was dropped. But I found a way to pay homage to it anyway.
What is this amazing confectionery?
Wait, did you just send Mark Twain a ho-ho back in 1893?
Yeah, but what's he doing in San Francisco? Apart from maybe Chris Chan, there are few people whose past movements we can track as well as Samuel Clemens. He was nowhere near San Francisco in 1893. The only explanation I can think of is that time-traveling aliens have dragged him into a conflict that ends with archaeologists finding Brent Spiner's severed head.
So what? 500 years later, LeVar Burton can reattach it, tap the switch on his shoulder, and he'll be good as new.
So I thought it would be funny to parody those movie star anniversary or birthday specials that were popular on TV from the late 1960s up until the mid 90s. I thought I could pull this off because even though when I started production on the project, I only had about 50 subscribers, I had worked with 3 much bigger YouTubers. I've already mentioned the Film Geek. He's guest starred as Santa for us twice. It's not that he didn't want to be in it. There are no hard feelings there. His real job is really time consuming. Plus, he reviews almost every major movie to hit mainstream theaters, so he's gotta sleep sometime. Scott Toy Guru Nightlick helped me on an investigation to just what Ralph is and where he came from. These guys weren't just helping out a fan. I found all sorts of information for Scott for a project that to this day he's still never made. And of course, I guest wrote an episode of Tor's Cabinet of Curiosities. My original plan was to email all of these creators and see if they wanted to be in my birthday special. In the sketches, the idea would be that I would call them, see if they want to sit in and review the movie with me, and they'd say no. Then each of them would later pop up and take over a section of the review as a birthday present. Scott never got back to me, but Tor did, and he was all in. He really wanted to do it, which I find surprising. Of the 3 of them, he's the most popular. He's the biggest get. But I guess you don't know you really made it as a YouTuber until you're invited on someone else's show. Plus, he's making some money off his channel, but not enough that he can afford to pay his guest writers. If it can help him out in other ways, he will. So I kept part of the second version. Weird History is Tor's bread and butter, so giving him the history segment made perfect sense, which somehow morphed into a full-on fake-out opening of an episode of Tor's Cabinet of Curiosities.
The opening credits were easy. Jess knows me too well. 80s synth is where I live. But the end credits, I had to do that 3 times. He said, I need the beginning of the song. The beginning. I'd say that is the beginning. It took me forever to realize that he actually meant the overture.
Overture? I wouldn't know an overture from a song being truly over.
I've known him for 25 years. He still knows so little about music that he thinks Johnny Cash was a brand of pay toilets.
You want to talk difficult? When I first got the file from Tor, it was all scrambled. And once I got it fixed, the opening sketch was there, but the middle and end sketch were missing. Anyway, on to that opening. I don't mean to brag, but I wrote the most Tor-like opening of any guest-written episode of Tor's Cabinet of Curiosities to date. I just had to put myself in that same how would Tor phrase this mindset that I used on that script. Only make it absurd. Sketch comedy worked best in extremes. Groucho, Chico, and Harpo worked best when they were bouncing off Zeppo or Margaret Dumont. Jerry Lewis was only ever really funny when he was Dean Martin's sidekick. A little bit goes a long way. Even before I saw Tor's takes and what he had done with what I wrote, I had a rather bizarre hypothesis. In my 45 years on this planet, I've come to realize that people with ADHD are perfect casting for anarchic characters. Just take them off their meds, put them in front of a camera, and let it roll. I think that generally applies to me. In my experience making videos, doing stage performances, and even playing tabletop RPGs, most of the time when I've really gotten a crowd rolling on the floor in laughter, I was playing opposite someone on the autism spectrum. Part of me thinks that people with ADHD have such high natural goofball energy that putting them on stage with someone who has an equally over-the-top deadpan is just a recipe for comedy gold. This excludes people like Dan Aykroyd, who are clearly both ADHD and on the autism spectrum. Then again, I've never seen a production of The Prince and the Pauper starring two Dan Aykroyds. Hey, 1980s! Why didn't you make that happen?
Nick, put a link down in the description.
You can't make him do that. I can't even make him do that.
I can't because Nick, Ralph, and Xylo sent me this birthday party invitation.
A friend of the channel card?
This card says I can.
That friend of the channel card? It's not an honorary thing made up for the sketches. It's real. But they aren't a Patreon or membership perk. I only hand them out to people who have gone above and beyond to help me with my quixotic nonsense. And hey, I was pushed way out of my comfort zone writing something really dark and serious for him. I felt comfortable doing it because I knew I wouldn't have to read it myself. So I thought I would make, let Tor look ridiculous talking about this movie. But I didn't want Tor to give an android-like performance whose non-reaction to insanity was the joke. Oh, it would work great for the intro, but when he interacted with the other characters, I wanted him to feel just as comfortable getting incredibly silly. The Adventures of Mark Twain was admittedly a random pick. I was afraid that it was a weird episode for Tor to appear in. That people would think it was a creatively bankrupt crossover, which it was. The first draft was very self-aware and poking fun of shows that were very in your face about it. I was going for that Scooby-Doo meets Steve Urkel sort of but why though vibe. But then the best laid plans of mice and men often go astray. You see, I wrote a proof of concept draft for Tor before I did research into the film's production. That's right, Did I Get What I Paid For has a research phase. On his show, Tor often complains about how often he winds up talking about his home state of Oregon, even when he doesn't intend to. Whenever I wind up talking about a movie about monkeys, I claim it's the last time I'm going to do it, which led to this exchange.
I do have one question to ask. Jess, did you pick this movie on purpose? I thought, finally, I'm guesting on someone else's channel. I won't have to talk about Oregon.
I know how you feel. After the Ape Man, I said I'm never gonna talk or write about monkeys for a video ever again. No way in hell, not gonna happen. Then I pitched that script to you, and what did I end up writing about? Monkeys! And don't get me started on the Flintstones. I made a few jokes about the Great Gazoo in a few of my early solo videos, and now I'm going to be stuck reviewing something related to the modern Stone Age family from now until the day I die. Or the way AI is headed, decades after I'm dead and buried. Oh yeah, and I also forgot about this. Only it's sort of cartoonish. Adam goes about his day on some very slapstick escapades with some animals, including a monkey. So yeah, that is not a joke. Okay, it is, but only in the sense that it reflects reality and is kind of amusing. Now, I can't speak for Tor, but you have no worries about the me never talking about monkeys thing. It's an act. Do I only want to talk about monkeys? No. But if a movie I want to review or a comic I want to talk about happens to have a monkey in it, I won't shy away from it. And I won't go out of my way to make a video about monkeys.
Yes. Yes, you would. He totally would. Kong Island, aka Ava the Savage Venus, has been on his review queue since 2020. I'm the one who had to spare everyone from it.
Guessing going a year without talking about monkeys in a video would be like me not talking about trains or China or trains in China.
And I'm sure someday Tor will make a video about monkeys riding a train in China just to make my head go all scanners. Look, I am not Gene Roddenberry. I don't think my show started out with a message. The original version of Did I Get What I Paid For was a series of text articles where I gave my brutally honest opinion about various graphic novels. The YouTube version started off with me just saying silly things about movies. Sometimes they were ones I had never seen before. Other times they were old favorites. And others were ones that I loathed so much that I thought I should share them with the world. As the series progressed, I brought in friends and family. The point became that there are many shows and movies out there that may or may not be worth watching. But as long as we get together and laugh and have fun making these videos, it makes every single thing we've watched worthwhile. Apart from Vital Man. Willie Ames. The man still haunts my nightmares. That guy. Editing Jess here. Yeah, this video was cursed as well. The first time that Matt recorded his footage, he held it up vertically, not horizontally, so in order to make his footage fit the screen, I had to stretch it out a bit, and it wound up looking like this. So he had to reshoot it.
I still kind of want to, but I have a lot more important stuff to do right now. The opening credits were easy. Jess knows me too well. 80s Synth is where I live. But the end credits, I had to do that 3 times. He said, I need the beginning of the song. The beginning. I'd say that is the beginning. Took forever for me to realize he actually meant the overture. I've known him for 25 years, and he still knows so little about music that he thinks Johnny Cash was a brand of pay toilets. Yes? Yes, you would. He totally would. Kong Island, aka Ava the Savage Venus, has been on his review queue since 2020. I'm the one who has to spare everyone from it.
And then when I uploaded the Twain video, Mufasa hadn't saved some of my changes properly, and the end credits were not right, so I had to take the whole video down and re-upload it. I tried to schedule a second premiere so that people who didn't get to see it the first time would get the chance to be at the live event, but YouTube screwed that up too. So yeah, 2 videos in a row that are cursed. Good times. Good times. Anyway, here are some cutscenes from the episode featuring this little guy, the real star of the show.